Hello, welcome back to Fred in the Shed. Yeah, we're up in the Radio Shack again. Another little PMR Dark Side radio. But before we get started, just an observation. Look on the bench here. And you'll notice that this expanse of radios, which have all been released within 2 years, but you'll notice how with each reincarnation of the Quangshangs, for example, they're getting bigger and bigger. It appears that bigger is best these days. Right up to this Beofeng here, and this TIDRADIO, this Series 5 radio. Quite a big, chunky radio, and if you compare that to the original UV5R, this one looks quite compact. So I was quite pleased when TIDRADIO got in contact with me and said, did I want to test the TD-H3? Because it's a smaller radio. Here it is without its antenna. It's actually smaller than the UV5R original, and if we compare it to its big brother, or also this Beofeng here, it's quite a lot smaller. And if you did remove the antenna, it'd be quite easy to just put this into your pocket without the belt clip. So yeah, a tiny little radio from TIDRADIO, fully functions though. This should be compatible with CHIRP, so it should be very easy to program using the software and the cable. However, like the big brother, also has a Bluetooth capability, so you can download an app and you can program it via Bluetooth via your mobile phone. Personally, we'll be going down the CHIRP route because that's what I like to do. So that's what we're going to be doing on this video, so stay tuned. We'll have a closer, deep, in-depth dive on this little TIDRADIO, and we'll see exactly how good it is or it's not. Stay tuned.
Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to...
Let's just start with a very quick box opening, because I think it's important to see what you get for your money. First set of instructions. You know I like a comprehensive set of instructions. These aren't too bad, to be fair. They do include colour screenshots, which make the whole process of programming the radio easier, and they are very clear, and yeah, they're laid out okay. I've got no real complaints actually about the instructions. A lot of it is taken up with connecting to the phone app. If you want to download the phone app to program the radio and to operate it via your phone, it's called Oddmaster. I personally won't be doing it because I say it's not something I want to do, and you have to register, create an account, and I've got too many of those anyway. But yeah, here it is. So you can also, once you registered your account, it says you can program via the PC, via PC. Personally, I do think that the TD-H3 is supported in CHIRP, so CHIRP's the way forward for me. But it's nice that all the information is there if you're not a CHIRP person. A little customer support card there, always quite handy, I suppose, to if you really want to contact them via the card, but you're most likely to email them. What else we got? We have a belt clip, of course. It's the screw-on type with the two little screws. I do prefer that than the later radios that have got the clip type. I think this will last longer. Personally, I'm probably going to leave it off the radio because it just makes it bulkier, and I want to keep it as small as possible. A plug wall socket charger, yeah, always useful if you've not got a spare one. I mean, most of us have nowadays, but that is there. A little wrist lanyard, which I actually will attach to this radio. I normally don't. Goes on the back there, but I actually will attach it because I think it's small enough and it's light enough to hold on your wrist. And yeah, look, USB-C charge lead, again, quite nice to see. And then we have the antenna, rubber ducky antenna, and they've gone for the very slim design, which I quite prefer compared to the thicker rubber design. These are just more flexible, so you can, if you need to, you can sort of jam these into a pocket. And then we've got the little radio itself, of course. quite smart actually. Looks like, oh, even though it's small, it looks like it's got a full-size speaker. If you look at the speaker aperture compared to the 5 series, it's not a lot smaller, so hopefully the sound will be quite good. Let's just attach the SMA on the antenna there. So yeah, quite a decent size antenna. As I say, it's quite nice. You can sort of fold that all the way over. But so yeah, quite a smart looking little radio. It does have the backlit screen, of course. Some of you really like these. I mean, they do look nice. They are sort of eye candy when we're up in the shack. Problem you have with these screens is that when you go out on a bright sunny day, which can be quite rare in the UK, but it does happen, when you go out on a bright summer's day, it can be very, very hard to see. So that is the downside. But certainly inside, it does look rather nice, doesn't it? Anyway, let's all zoom in. Let's go through the radio and have a closer look at the details. Let's get the screen protector off, and then we can switch on. So just a very small little 1.4 inch colour screen. Very clear though, I'm going to say, inside the shack here. Hopefully it's coming out on camera. Very, very clear. Usual array of buttons, completely different layout. Quite unique to TID radio. They haven't gone down the Quansheng route, which is a good thing because I'm finding the new Quansheng menu system not all that intuitive, to be perfectly honest. We'll have a quick look around the radio first. So side of the radio is quite interesting because I've never seen this before. You have 2 PTT push to talk buttons, depending, because it's a dual band radio, A and B, depending which band you want to transmit on. Instead of having to press a changeover button, you can press that for the lower band and this for the upper band. Could be quite good if you're in a group on, say, PMR channels. Say you've got 16 channels, or maybe you're in a group and some of you on channel 1 and some of you on channel 10. Well, you can just use the 2 PTTs. Quite unique. Not seen that before. Then we have another button at the bottom, which at the moment is doing the radio and a flashlight, which I'll show you in a moment, but I'm sure you can program that once we get into CHIRP. It's so small, it's barely fitting on my stand here. And on this side, the radio, just got the little rubber protective door here. Standard USB-C charging on the radio, not actually on the battery itself. And then the Kenwood 2-pin port, which is for the biofang cables. Absolutely no problem there. We'll just have a quick look on the back. Nothing really on the back of the radio. Oh no, tell a lie. Hopefully you can see that. We're probably out of focus now, but it does have a USB-C on the battery as well. So if you were to buy a spare battery, you can charge the battery remotely from the radio. Quick look on top of the radio. 2 LEDs there that you'll see are flashing, and this is to indicate that the radio is switched on because the display has dimmed. You've only got we've got about 4 settings on the display. I think it's 5 seconds to 30 seconds or continuous, which will probably hamper the batteries, but it's really nice that they've included those flashing LEDs. That would show up at night time, especially to let you know that the radio is in standby mode. Then we have the obligatory LED flashlight torch. Now, normally I skip over these. These have been around for years, but this one is surprisingly bright. I mean, when you look at it, you can see it's bigger than what you normally get on a radio. And I'm going to zoom out and then demonstrate it because it is very useful. So to switch LED on, you just push the button once. And there it is. And again, it will go into flash mode. And that is super bright. Let me dim some of the shack lights. I mean, this is a real usable flashlight. I can't even look at it. It is so bright. I can't, and I say it's in the flash mode especially, that is going to show up for quite some distance. So that's possibly the best yeah, I'm blinded just sitting here in the shack. That possibly is the best LED flashlight I've seen on any of these radios. Well, yeah, I think all of them. So yeah, very impressed with that. I just can't see anything now, unfortunately. Quick look at the rubber ducky antenna. SMA, of course, and it's a male SMA socket, so female, pretty standard in your SMA. So all of your other Baofeng antennas will fit. And then you've got the simple pop there, off and on, and volume. Feels very, very nice and smooth. Absolutely no problem with that. Do you know, I still can't see. That flashlight is incredibly bright. Right, the first thing I'm going to do, well, it's so small, like it won't fit on there. I'll zoom in a little bit. Let's test the speaker, because I'm intrigued. Because it's a small speaker, and on some of these radios, the speakers aren't sounding very good. So we'll switch on the FM radio, which is always a good test. Okay, so let's just... There we go. So we hold down this button here. Wow, that's really loud. That is really loud. Let me see if it'll find some talking. So to get it to scan, we just hold the up button. So bearing in mind, this is a UHF antenna, basically, and a VHF antenna. It's picking up really well.
It does. It's a profound work of empathy in that way. This really sad, lonely, underachieving man comes alive.
You say sad. I mean, I thought this book was terrific too, and I kept thinking, why am I enjoying it? Yeah. Nothing is happening. Actually,
do you know what? That is really, really clear compared to a similar Quansheng radio.
But I think why I loved it is because although his
very clear.
life is really boring, I mean predictable and boring, he himself isn't. I mean, this is a man who we gradually realise has managed to build a kind of a safe inside himself.
Well, I'm impressed with that. That is a very nice, clear audio, and it goes really, really loud. So hopefully, when it's receiving radio signals, it'd be equally as good. Right, I think what we need to do now is we'll zoom into the keypad and we'll just go through some of the menu options. There's a lot on there, like most of these modern radios. So it's quite a nice little keyboard on the radio. It is quite small. If you've got really big sausage fingers, then you might find them a little bit close together. But quite logically laid out, as I say, completely unique to your Quansheng. You'll notice the screen's gone off. I've set it on 30 seconds. That's the longest you can without having it on continuously. But yeah, I think it's all okay. I mean, you've got shortcuts there on the keys. Now, obviously, with Dark Side PMR on here, I'm not a ham radio operator, so I think there's 56 functions, and I'm not going to be using a fraction of those. But very good for the shortcuts. So, for example, radio's on. We press menu, go into 1. That goes to squelch. It does go down to 1. Now, I normally set these radios on 1, but I found static was breaking through on 1. So it is quite a sensitive squelch. Again, I think that's an improvement on the Baofengs, and it goes back. You'll notice, by the way, I've got this set on 122. That's an aircraft frequency. Don't think that you can transmit on there, because you can't, because it's blocked and as it should be. But you can receive the aircraft band on this. You do have to go through the menu here. I think it's this one here. Let me go.
Menu. Are we one person?
Yeah, that turns the radio on. But you do have to change it between FM modulation and AM, which is a bit of a ball ache if you want to switch back to the radio, your broadcast radio. But it's there. So yeah, all your shortcuts are there. Just press menu. They're pretty easy to use. I mean, transmission power.
Menu.
Power there we go, straight into that. So you've got high power, which is 5 watts on the handbands, or low power is 2 watts. Might have been better if it just gave you the actual power there, so low and high. You won't get full power out of the radio on PMR because we're going slightly above its parameters. I haven't got a power meter. It doesn't really matter. You probably get about 2.5 watts or something out of it like that, and that's plenty. So yeah, let's have a quick look at some of the menus then. So we just go through them. Squelch, obviously number 1, very important. Quansheng have dropped that down at number 23 or something on their radios, which is a bit odd. TX power, yeah. Power save mode, going in when the radio shuts down. Your step rate here, quite useful for scanning, especially if you're going to go on the aircraft mode. And then there's the backlight, as I say, 30 seconds continuous, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 or 30. Keep it on 30. Beep, which is your key beep, you want, yeah, definitely switch that off. And then you've got voice activated feature. Again, probably best with a headset. That timeout timer, yeah, save your battery. And then it goes on, and then you've got the privacy codes, the CTCSS, TX and DCC, and then all of it. You've got the audio speaking voice, which I'll leave on. Scan on a scan mode, and it goes on, doesn't it? It just goes on. Dual watch feature, because it's a dual watch radio. And off we go. Offset your memory channels, delete, alarm mode in TX alarm. I suppose if that's, maybe you're going to key it up for too long, it'll give you an alarm. Roger beep. Language, obviously. Yeah, and there's so much on here. As I say, a lot of this is ham radio based. We're not going to be using all of it. Breath LED. Well, that must be the lights on the top that flash every 5 seconds. Off. 10 seconds. 15. Okay, so you can turn those little monitor lights on there. Just to I'll leave mine on 5 actually. I want to know that when the radio's switched off. That's a good feature. And there's your version. Yeah. Okay, so it goes on, doesn't it? How many is there? Let me just mic gain. Now that's good. Now normally you haven't got a mic gain on these little radios. That's very impressive to see that. Very impressed to see that. And your scrambler, which is for your scanning. There's the AM band. Again, that's switched off at the moment because I'm listening to FM. But if you're listening to the aircraft, you need to switch that on. You have to switch it back off again for FM, which is a bit of a ball ache. There's a lot on here, isn't there? I think we're going to run out. Scan all bands, yeah. Bandwidth wide. I'd probably have that on narrow for when I do PMR, just to try and get that little bit extra distance out of it. And then press the PTT to back. So yeah, it's quite comprehensive, but it's not too bad, to be perfectly honest. And as I say, these shortcut buttons are there, and it's good that it's got squelch in number 1 and power number 2. No problem with that. Just going to quickly go through some of the features of the radio. So we've obviously got dual display and dual watch with dual PTTs, which is quite unique. When we program the PMRs, we've obviously got the privacy codes there, the CTCSS and the DCSS. Has got a 199 programmable memory channels, so that's no problem. Got 9 levels adjustment on the squelch. Does have the flashing SOS feature with a very bright LCD, 1.4 inch TFT screen, of course, there. And then you've got the FM radio, tunes from 76 up to 108, so it goes below the standard broadcast FM rate there. Voice activated, yeah, audio transmit, we saw that. And then you do have frequency step adjustments, 2.5 up to 25 kilohertz. You've got your frequency offset, which we're not going to be using because we're not using the PMR, the ham radio side of it. Power save feature, Bluetooth programming for your mobile phone. Now to put that on, you hold down that button. The little Bluetooth single comes on. I'm not sure if that would Bluetooth to a pair of headphones. I'll try that before the review's out. And then you've got your 2 power outputs, I say 5 watts and 2 watts. And then you've got the airband now, 108 to 136 on the AM. So I've just kind of got my very old but reliable Bluetooth speaker, and I've gone all the way through the instructions, and it only mentions connecting the radio to your phone via Bluetooth. I just wonder if it would connect with a Bluetooth speaker, so the easiest way is to find out, I suppose.
Bluetooth mode.
So this is now discoverable. If I switch the Bluetooth on, Doesn't seem to connect, does it? We've got a little off symbol there on the screen. Let me find out what that means. My speaker's not having any of it. Okay, never mind. Right, so we're going to program the radio now. We're going to put in the 16 PMR channels. I'll just wait for my speaker to swear at me.
Power off.
Always sounds like it's saying something else. So yeah, we're putting the 16 channels. You can program it by hand via the keypad, but CHIRP is so much easier. And of course, if you want to go through all of the rigmarole of registering the app and signing in via Facebook and whatnot, you can use your phone. But let's see if we can get it to go in CHIRP. Right, we're downstairs in the computer room now. I'm going to go ahead and see how easy this is to program in CHIRP. Now, before you take this step, this is a big step because we're now heading to what I call a dark side radio. And what I mean by that is by putting these PMR channels on this radio, you will be breaking the law, basically, because this radio is not compliant to qualify for PMR use. To be fair, we all use them, and no one I know has ever been caught. But you have to be aware that if you program this as a walkie-talkie, a PMR, it's not compliant. You are breaking a law. Okay, so you're on the dark side. Right, let's go ahead and see how it works. Right, so here we go then. Now, for CHIRP, I'm wondering if this is the same as its bigger brother, the 5 series, because on that radio you can just use the USB-C. You haven't got to use the 2 Kenwood sockets. So I'm just going to try it. I'm just going to put a USB-C in the side of the radio. Make sure the radio's switched on. Oh, there we go. So it's the Windows has picked it up. And then, yeah, we'll have a look on CHIRP and we'll see if we can read from the radio and see what test frequencies we've got into it. I'll do a screenshot for you. Right, so we're going to go to radio. Let's see how clever it is. Download from radio. Sometimes this picks it up. Oh, it has. Oh, there you go. So, yeah, TIDRADIO TD-H3 plus ham GMRS. So just check the COM port. So USB COM port there, serial COM11. Okie dokie. Press OK. Usual instructions that we get. How easy is that? You know, I'm liking this radio more and more. That is so easy. So now we can have a look at, these are all of the test frequencies that the radio has been sent with from the factory. We've got 30. And this is why you can't just use these straight out of the box as a walkie-talkie, because as you can see, these are all over the place. Some are PMR, that's a PMR frequency, but the rest will be very close, or they will be ham radio frequencies. Hopefully there's no emergency frequencies there that are close to emergency services. But anyway, that gives you basically the layout of the radio. Then we can go ahead and program it. I'm not going to show you that in this video because I've already made the easiest guide on YouTube, how to get your PMR frequency. So look in the, if you're not sure, have a look in the details of the video below the video screen, and the guide will be listed there. But I'm going to go ahead now and program the radio, and then we can do some range testing. And there we go. That went really, really easy. So we've now got the 16 channels into the radio. If I can get this to focus. I'll switch the volume up a little bit. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I've deleted all of the test frequencies, but it still retains the weather channels, which unfortunately we can't get in the UK. 9. But they're at the other end of the spectrum. So if we go past 16. 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 190, 190, 196. So these are all of the North American weather channels. So if you're fortunate enough to be able to receive those, you can leave those in the radio. That was very, very easy with a USB-C. No special leads, no drivers. Quite impressed with that. Now, people generally ask me in the comments about range that you get out of these Dark Side PMR radios. Obviously, you can't use these at legal power. Legally, it's illegal, isn't it? It's rated at 5 watts on maximum power. I haven't got the equipment to properly test it, but considering that we're running it slightly off frequency on the PMR band for the antenna, you're probably looking at 2.5 watts, maybe 3 watts at a push. You can see the screen now. I'm just coming into the brighter, see what I mean? I'm going slightly into the brighter area now, and it is slightly hard to see. It's gone off now. Yeah, so say if we say 2.5, 3 watts, in general you'll get double the distance I've found that you'll get out of a standard PMR radio, but it depends on your terrain. The more infrastructure you put between the two radios, especially man-made infrastructure, buildings, lampposts, cars, the more you do that, the range drastically reduces. If you use these inside, even these high power radios, you can be down to a couple of 100 meters in buildings, just purely because the signal gets bashed about too much. So where we're going up now on the flyover, it's not that far. It takes me about, I don't know, just over 10 minutes to get there, I guess, walking. So it's probably just under half a mile, something like that. But there's lots of houses between the radios, and that makes quite a difference to the range. But one thing I will say about this radio is the size. Look, I can pretty much hold that in my hand, and it's, other than the antenna of course, it's almost stealth. You do get some funny looks when you're walking about with a radio. We've said this before on the channel, but this one, yeah, it's a nice size, you know. Definitely like the size. Anyway, enough talking. We'll join me again when we're on the rather busy, noisy bypass flyover. You know, I must be getting old because I'm a bit out of puff walking up that slope there. So anyway, here we are. This is our usual perch on the bypass, and the sun's come out, which is quite nice. And yeah, we're going to test the little radio then. So here we go. Yeah, audio check 1 2, audio check 1 2 on the TID radio up on the bypass now. So Mary had a little lamb.
Yeah, audio check 1 2, audio check 1 2 on the TID radio up on the bypass now. So Mary had a little lamb. Its fleece was white and snow. Audio.
Going to make our way to the rugby field. I've got to say, trees are nice this time of year in autumn. You're all starting to change colour, except that one that's an evergreen. So yeah, going to head down now to the rugby field. So obviously we are losing height, but we're gaining open space, and it's a little bit further from the house. So we're putting another few rows of houses between the two radios. So well over sort of a half a mile point when I get to the rugby field. But anyway, join me when I get there. Here we are then at the regular spot, our rugby field, out in the open ground. Like I say, this is probably just over half a mile from the QTH, so it's sort of the perfect distance you might want to use a Dark Side PMR radio for. One of you goes shopping or something down the shops, or if you was at a holiday campsite or something and one of you wants to go out rambling. Not massive distance, but long enough, you know, not enough distance that you would need a radio. Anyway, let's give it a shout from here. It shouldn't have any trouble on high power. Yeah, audio check 1 2 3 4. The TID radio now at the rugby field.
Yeah, audio check 1 2 3 4. The TID radio now at the rugby field. Audio check 1 2 1 2 3 4. Mary and a little lamb. Blah 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 blah. Audio 1 2.
Going to do one further test as we go through this alleyway. We've halved the distance that we are from the house, but this dips right down here, so the houses tower above you, so we're almost at basement level, and it'd be interesting to see how the radio copes with that on PMR. So do a third little test. Here we go then. Yeah, audio check 1 2 3 4 in the alleyway now at I say at basement level.
Yeah, audio check 1 2 3 4 in the alleyway now at say at basement level. Very low all around us. Audio 121234.
Right, what I've done now is I've swapped the radios over, so we've got the little 3 series indoors and I've brought the larger 5 series out just to check the audio on that little 3 series speaker. We're not that far from the QTH, so it should be clearer than when we was on the flyover, but I think it's going to sound quite good from what I've heard so far. But let's do a quick audio check. Yeah, audio check 1 2 3 4, audio check 1 2 3 4, just testing the little speaker, the 3 series TID radio. Yeah, audio check 1 2 3 4, audio check 1 2 3 4, just testing the little speaker on the 3 series TID radio. 1 2 1 2, Mary had a little lamb. So conclusion time then, what do I think of this TID radio TD-H3? I've had it a few days, been testing it, and I like it. I really do. In fact, I'm going to keep this handy because next time I go on holiday, I think this is going to be my go-to PMR radio. Things I really like about it, well, first is the size. It is just so small, but it doesn't mean that it's compromised. The sound quality from the speaker is very good, much better than any of the Quangshan spin-offs. Really, really clear, goes really, really loud as well. Even decent to listen to on the radio. And I did manage to get one airband contact. And again, it come across really, really well. So yeah, love the speaker, love the size. Also, there's things that just make it easy to use. One thing that I didn't really pick up on at the beginning of the video, when the radio receives a transmission or it comes out of sleep mode, keypad, look, it's illuminated. Didn't notice that. But again, that just makes things that little bit easier. And a lot of radios nowadays aren't doing this. They've done away with that. And then also on the keypad, which does make it very easy to use, is all of your shortcut functions. For example, squelch, power, scan, they're all printed on the buttons, and very easy to go straight to what you want via the menu. There we go, straight to the power. So yeah, I like that. And again, a lot of the radios I've been testing recently, a lot of these key functions like power and really squelch, they've been hidden way into the menu system, so everything is where it should be. Now, one feature that I think is completely unique, and I've not seen this on any PMR radio or any 2 70 centimetre Dark Side PMR radio, and that is the dual PTT, the 2 push to talk buttons. So the radio is dual band, you've got 2 VFOs, so you can simultaneously monitor 2 channels at the same time. But normally what happens, say for example I'm on channel 12, 446, 13, 143, and I get a signal received on channel 1, which is the second set of frequencies. As it's dual watch, I will receive the signal, but normally to transmit back I'd have to press the A and B button there, and then that becomes my transmit frequency. But where this radio is good, and I can demonstrate this by bringing in this radio, for example. So say I'm monitoring channel 12 and I get a transmit on channel 1. Well, all I need to do is press that second VFO, sorry, that second PTT, and straight away I can transmit to the other radio. It could be really useful in a group. Certainly it's something I've not seen before. So I like that. Another thing that I also like is how easy this radio is to program via CHIRP. It works with a simple USB-C lead. I didn't even use the one that was in the box, just a generic USB-C lead. No need to buy a separate program cable, no need to download prolific drivers and some of the problems that you get doing that. Just a simple USB-C, and fully supported by CHIRP. It took seconds for me to get the 16 channels in, and yeah, hats off to TID Radio for that. Really, really, really good. So final word, yeah, I'd really recommend this actually. I've really got on with it. I'd really recommend this as a Dark Side PMR radio, definitely. very easy to program. So yeah, gets the Fred in the Shed thumbs up, no problem at all. As always, there'll be a link in the description that will take you to the TID Radio website, so you can check out this radio and have a look maybe at some of their other radios. If I'm able to get you a discount, 5 or 10% off, whatever I can, there will be a discount code in the description as well. It'll probably be something like Fred Shed or something which you can put into the checkout. Get yourself a little bit of money off if you are thinking of purchasing one. It all helps, doesn't it? But I think that's really about it. So thank you for tuning in to the video and watching it. I do appreciate your view time. I don't get that many views on my videos, so I do appreciate every one of you. There is a thumbs up from Fred in the Shed, and if you could just hit me a thumbs up down below, I would appreciate it. Hang on to the very end of the video. There's a tiny little bit of bonus footage that you might appreciate. But anyway, as for now, as always, please, please, please look after each other, stay safe and all the rest of it. And of course, I'll catch you on the next video. Cheers, thanks for tuning in. Just spotted something on my walk back. A rear end of a Ford Probe. These were the car that came out in the UK to replace the original Ford Capri. Obviously not the MPV incarnation that was currently launched. So this was the Ford Capri replacement. It was an American design, very Americanized at the time, and yeah, didn't really get taken on by the British public. They sort of are very patriotic to the old Capri, especially the 2.8 injection, which my father had, funny enough, and this was the replacement. And I always thought it was quite a decent car in its own right, especially if you got one in black. Looks like the paint is starting to fade on this one, but I can't see any rot on it. The wheel arches look quite rot free, which the original Capri didn't last particularly well. So yeah, there you go, something you don't see every day. A 1996 Ford Probe. Yeah, quite like it. 24 valve as well. Anyway, catch you on the next video.
Fred's in the shed where the magic unfolds. Fred in the shed with his trusty CB. He's a friend to the lonely on a frequency.